Right. Good morning. Can you hear me? Boleh dengar?
Dengar, Doktor.
Yeah, good. So, very good morning to everyone. Thank you very much. First and foremost, thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much to Wawi for being the technical crew today to have this put up. So, how are you today, my dear students? So, ada suara pun tak begitu nak memberangsangkan kan? So, you jangan macam I lah. Okay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. If you were on campus or if classes were still on and if it's not the study week, you would still be up and ready for your classes, isn't it? So you anggap lah ni macam pergi kelas yang quote unquote the last class for the semester, and it's a bit coincidence. I would imagine that it is actually a Thursday, so it's actually the last day of the week in Johor. And yeah, I do apologize that sebenarnya kalau ikutkan, we shouldn't be having any events with you today because it's a public holiday kan hari ni. So I do apologize for our students who are probably celebrating, even though you probably can't go out much, still have a good time with your family and all that. I do apologize, but this promise you this won't take long. The max is going up to like 1.5 hours, so that you could go back to whatever you're going to do after this, right? Okay, so at any point during this session, if you think you have a question or so, please just turn on your mic and just speak out, okay? Because I can't see you actually when I share my screen like this. And if you think I'm going too quickly or too slowly or things like that, again, just let me know, okay? Okay, dokie. So you can see my screen pretty clearly, right? The slides out there, there are not many. I think there are just about 20. Okay. So as we have named our event today as Thinking Out Loud in the Face of Complex Problems, and yeah, I made that disappear in the original poster. Yes, we are talking about your final exams just around the corner. So we all know, right? Not just you, dear students, it's us as well as the lecturers. We are very aware of the challenges that you have to go through for the past 14 weeks. 14 minggu dah sebenarnya, right? So well done, really, really well done to all of you. You're still in your year one, so there are those of you who are in your semester one whom have not set foot in the campus before, and those of you who are in your semester two. Betul kan? Kalau semester 2, then you have been on campus last semester for about half of it, hampir half lah. So adalah dapat rasa apa nama tu, perasaan ni berada di campus university. But whatever it is, you are already in the university. Okay, that's the main thing. That's the most important thing, right? You're already in university. You're already in the university student, what we call the Master 1 and Master 3 here. So you're no longer an ordinary student. And it is really amazing effort, amazing effort that you bring yourself all the way to this 15th week, which is the study week here. So well done, really well done. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder. And a lot has happened, I believe, for every single one of you here. Many things have happened along the way. And some things are good, some things are bad. Or maybe we shouldn't say good or bad. It's a matter of when they happen, how do we deal with it, right? And sometimes we feel a bit overwhelmed at like it's a tsunami coming, and then we are just not drowned. We are still here. It's like we have to we taking some cups of water, and now we are still kind of struggling in the waters, and now we think we are still in deep waters. So I hope with this sharing session, we could sort out a little bit of these kalau bukan mess lah, kusut, confusion, and some things may be troubling you in your head. And to make you more mentally prepared, let's hope, for the exam starting on this Sunday. Okay, so here we go. Okay, you know this guy, everybody knows this guy with the crazy hair, Einstein. He said this about education actually. He said, education is not the learning of facts, which we like to do. We hafal ni, hafal tu, hafal formula, hafal principle, hafal fakta. But education by right is a training of the mind to think, untuk berfikir. So kalau kita pause sekejap, kita fikir balik, lah. Kadang-kadang kita ni terkejar-kejar dengan kuliah, buat assignment, buat project, banyaklah homeworknya, terkejar-kejar. Jadi kita lupa bahawa all these things that we are going through in the classroom adalah untuk ajar kita untuk berfikir. Tapi sebab terkejar-kejar kan, satu subjek dah habis, satu subjek lagi, banyak sangat. Satu hari 3, 4, 5, 6 due date. Belum lagi cakap kena wajib untuk hadir talk yang macam ni. Alright, so along the semester, these things happen. But now that we have a bit of not free time, meaning that you finish all your lectures, so the time is all yours now, right? And you can start to pause a bit and think, yeah, education is about thinking. It's about thinking, teaching us how to think. So if you're at the end of your pengajian after 4 years, kalau keluar, we are still trying to regurgitate. Guna balik, muntah balik lah. The terrible word is, muntah balik apa yang telah kita hafal dalam kuliah-kuliah tu, and try to apply those hard facts into the situations at work, then you find that, oh, life becomes very miserable because it doesn't work like this. With the knowledge and skills that we have, you need to be able to think, to analyze the situation, right? So this is the first quote, or first line that I would like to start my presentation with. I hope, my dear students, that you bear this in mind, okay? And we need to explain about the title. Okay, so you may be asking yourselves, why is the title Thinking Out Loud? Is it because I'm an Ed Sheeran fan or things like that? No, it's not like this. It's because I want you to know this. This is about thinking out loud, literally thinking out loud. What is thinking out loud? Kita fikir sambil bercakap, sebenarnya cakap kuat-kuat kat diri sendiri pula tu. Kalau tak cakap kuat-kuat, bercakap lah rasanya. And I believe many of us do that. And to summarize it, Dr. Kageyama, who is a performance psychologist and musician, actually, he said this: when we verbalize our thoughts, right? Verbalize, bila bercakap, say it out loud. We actually have to slow down, and sometimes we even need to pause to think through a problem more carefully, lebih hati-hati, more deliberately, dengan lebih bertujuan, lebih sengaja, and consciously, sedar. And the conclusion is that you start to focus on the problem-solving process. So if you, again, ironically, we pause and think about this statement by Dr. Kageyama, it is very true, isn't it? So again, let's talk about what Dr. Kageyama did to come up to this conclusion. So he did a very simple research, actually. He got a bunch of musicians and he divided them into different groups, but mainly there are just two groups. One is a group who is supposed to, who are told to solve a puzzle quietly, no talking, silence, all right? And the other group solving the same puzzle, but they could talk out loud to themselves. They can think out loud, meaning that they could say, I should have put this here. Yeah, this is not quite right. Let me do this again, you know. So these two groups were put into different rooms and they did the puzzle. And when all is said and done, Dr. Kageyama gathered them back into the same room and asked them about what they have done. Because everyone solved the puzzle. It's not difficult, it's not rocket science or things like that. It's just a simple thing. So everybody could do it. It's just that he wanted to know the experience of doing it. You know what was the amazing thing he found? He found that, number one, everybody could do it. Regardless whether you think it out loud or you quietly, silently do it by yourself, you could do it. That is to be expected. Number two, this is the most amazing thing that he found out. Those that did it quietly, right? Resolve the puzzle quietly, they don't actually quite remember what were the challenges in solving the puzzle now. They only remember the outcome, yeah, they did it. That was it. But when he interviewed those who thought out loud, we were allowed to speak out loud of the processes or what they were thinking to do next, or how they kind of like motivated themselves, come on, let's do it, and things like, kept motivating themselves. Or like, salah ni kena buat balik, reminding themselves. Those who did that came up with these observations of themselves. They remembered a lot of the little challenges along the way to resolve the puzzle. They remember a lot of the details. So with this, you can see that when we actually speak to ourselves, speaking out loud of our thoughts, especially in trying to resolve a problem which we think is complex, right? It actually helps. It actually helps us to think more clearly, more intentionally, and more deliberately. So this is important. So from now onwards, you hear, you always have to talk to yourself because you are thinking your thought out loud. It's okay. It's okay because it has been clinically proven that it is actually helpful for us to solve our problem. Okay? So those are the two introductory slides. Mukadimah aja, tak ada kaitan, bukan the main content. So this is the content page. As you can see, 1, 2, 5, 6, 76 things that I would like to share with you today. And we will just go through them one by one, and they are in sequence. Meaning that dia satu berkait dengan satu. So lepas kita faham yang pertama, you go to the second one, and then when you go to the fourth one, you can see, dia berkait. Macam mana yang atas tu berkait. Right? So let's begin. All right, let's start with our brain. Okay, the brain is very complex, and everybody knows the brain is God's mystery. It's the greatest creation. Without our brain, we are just like any other ordinary creatures actually. But because our brain, which until today, we don't much quite understand how it works actually. Alright, so it remains the greatest gift and greatest mystery of God actually. And just as an anecdote, because everybody knows that Einstein is one of the greatest, has one of the greatest brains around, because the theory of relativity that he came up with, until today, very few people really understood it. And maybe a very handful of people really understood it. Maybe one of the more prominent one is Professor Stephen Hawking, and also he passed away as well anyway some time ago. So before Einstein died, he agreed to donate his brain to the Royal Society, and so the brain could be examined. Yeah. So at the time when he died, like probably the belief that the medical science wasn't that advanced, they couldn't understand why is it that he could think such things that were beyond what other people could think of. That in other words, he's a genius, a super genius. So they wanted to see what was so different about Einstein's brain. And actually, his brain was being dissected. The dissected into sections, if you like, and of course preserved in the special plexiglass. And they're all over the place in the world in these advanced medical labs we examine. And yet still, until today, yeah, there are little findings here and there about how it could be different. It could be, I said, that it's not necessarily true, because it takes a lot more research to validate that. Still, we don't quite know what's so much different. What is the main difference between his brain and ours that it makes him so amazing? Okay, so that's for the brain thing with Einstein. So we just focus on this now. Mainly, there are two parts to our brain that we want to talk about in determining our behavior, actually. One, as you can see in this slide, is about the amygdala. Amygdala is on, to put it simply, you can see it's at the back of our head, okay, the back of our head. And this name amygdala, it sounds familiar, yeah. It is the name of Padme Amidala, right, the queen of, who became the girlfriend, eventually the wife of Anakin Skywalker. Who is Anakin Skywalker? Yes, Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader in Star Wars. That's not very important, but just saying. Okay, so what does this amygdala do? Amygdala is a part of our brain which processes stimulus from outside, and that's why you see here it is highly reactive. Why? Because this is a part of our brain that kept the human race surviving until today. It is actually what we call the fight or flight portion of the brain. Fight or flight. Remember this? Caveman. They see a mammoth, for example. If you are during the ice age, what do? If you could fight it, you fight, right? If you come, what do? You run. It's flight. So this is the part of the brain, right, that kept us surviving for all this time, even now in modern days. That's why it is taking in all the stimulus. It's very sensitive to that. It's highly reactive, right? You react to whatever stimulus you give it. For example, a simple quick one, if your hand by accident tersentuh api, what do? Terus panggang tangan, tak ada kan? You akan cepat-cepat tarik tangan you. So that is reactive. Without you thinking, it actually does that. And why do you actually do that? Because amygdala tells your body to do that. And the amygdala is living in the present. It's always in the present. It is not doing anything if there's nothing happening around you, but we know that we are not free from stimulus around you. Why? Because of the 5 amazing senses that we have. Our eyes, we keep seeing things. If you close your eyes, you can still hear things. If you close your eyes and ears, you can still sense things on your skin, whether it's cold, it's hot, there's some dust, the air is dusty, right? Okay, you seal off your skin as well. You close your eyes and you shut out your ears. You can still smell, all right? Okay, you shut out all these 4 senses. You stick out your tongue, you can still sense something around. So you see, is with all the 5 senses that we have, that's why we are so stimulated all the time, because of all these things that are happening around us. Okay, and hence you can imagine it is very fast moving, one thing to another. Now I touch fire, and next thing I touch ice, and next thing somebody is talking about me. So everything is very fast moving, and it is always about me. Me, myself is very self-involved. What did we say? It's a survival kit. It's a survival tool. So what do? It's all about me. It's either I stay here and get bashed up by whatever threat that there is, or I better angkat kanan and run away now and before the harm comes to me. You see? So it's very self-involved here. And because it is fast changing, it's living the present, it is about fight or flight, it is a random task switcher. It moves from one to another very quickly, depending on which stimulus sounds or come across as being more urgent, more life-threatening, or more exciting. You see? So this is a part of the brain that does it. In other words, it is responding, highly responding to the situation out there. Now let's look at the other part of the brain, what we call the prefrontal lobe. That is at the front bit. The depot is in the front bit of our head. And what does this do? This is what we like to call the thinking brain. It is proactive. Now, proactive compared to reactive. You remember the amygdala does reactive, responding. It's just responding and responding to whatever stimulus that you receive out there. But when we say proactive, if your teacher praises it, Ahmad ni sangat proaktif lah dalam kelas. What does proactive mean? Active, we know this is being active. Pro is always taking the initiative. So when we say someone is being proactive, or the prefrontal lobe is a proactive part of the brain, it simply means that you are always analyzing and you are always trying to make the situation, gather the situation to make it suitable for you. So what you're actually doing is you are trying to control. You're trying to control your reaction. So that is what we call proactive. So that is very, very different, right, from being reactive. And you can start being, you can imagine, surely this takes a bit longer time. That's why we say it is slow and deliberate. It takes time. You need to give it space and time to process the information. And it is analytical and sequential. You see, this is the part of the brain that does the thinking. It has to be analytical and it's sequential, logical. It knows which comes first. It's at 1, 2, 3. It's not 3, 2, 5, 6. It has to be in sequence. And it has limitless capabilities. It is imaginative, and this is a part that makes us creative. And again, how can you be creative on your foot? If I was ask you the question, pop, 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 you give answers? No, you have to think through it. You have to tap into the imaginative and creative part of your brain, and that takes time. And this is the prefrontal lobe. Last but not least, this is the part that has a process and come up with the feelings. They are wise and empathic. So you can empathize with a situation, you empathize with a person, empathize with the little puppy that falls into the drain, for example. So can you see now the two parts of the brain? One is at the back amygdala, which is very reactive, is in the present. It moves from one task to another, the focus is very short span. And the prefrontal lobe that we are seeing here, which is the one that needs time to think, is the thinking brain. Okay? Right. Now, let's read one single slide. We define complex problem solving. What is complex problem solving? So there are three parts to it. One, it is about diagnosing the problem. To diagnose, to identify what exactly is the problem. Number two, to come up with an action plan. Right? I know the problem, now I come with a plan. And thirdly, the last thing to do is to execute my plan step by step. So that's it. And just keep in mind that if it is, we say it's a complex problem, if it's complex, and what complex always comes brings to mind a situation or something that has more than one component. Is that right? Complex mathematics problems, complex, something so complex. All right. So surely the solution could be multiple possible solutions. And in the following slides, as in today's session, our focus will be on to diagnose now. What exactly is our problem? All right. In the face of what? In the face of coming to the exams now. The exams is just around the corner. Is this coming Sunday, for goodness sake, right? So that is very pressing. That is the problem that is at hand. We will tackle that. And so today, you can imagine the session that we are having now is to help prepare you, right? To help prepare you to face the exam in the more confident, calmer, and the best of you. That is what we are trying to do. Okay? So now we move on. What exactly are the problems? What exactly are your problems for this semester, particularly now coming to the end of it, going for the exam? What exactly are the problems? There are only two, really. We point down to it. Number one, we are talking about unexpected complexity. Things are getting very, very complex. Oh, why are they so complex? Let's take a look. We are staying home. We are learning online. Loads of homework. And hello, I'm also a member of my family. I need to help out. I have responsibilities at home. Sometimes it's not just as simple as helping mom cook cook a meal. It's not about taking care of my younger siblings. It could be, wow, I need to help out financially for the family. I am doing part-time job, baking cakes at home. Maybe I'm doing delivery out there and things like that. So I have responsibilities at home. And this staying at home, learning online, loads of homework online. These are what we call the new norm. In fact, the word new normal sounds like a very far away and ancient term, isn't it? We have been in this PKP thingy, this pandemic, almost a year. if we consider it started officially in Malaysia in March last year, middle of March last year. So now we are coming to the end of January, so it's almost a year. So the kind of thing about it, it's no longer a new norm. We are already in it for a year. And my dear students, you are already in it for 14 weeks or more for those who are already in the second semester. Betul tak? So nak kata new norm tak new norm, so, dah terbiasa pula. Besok hari kalau nak balik campus, rasa benda janggal pula. However, having said that, we've gone through these 4 points and fikir banyak cabarannya, banyak ujiannya. Lain tak bagus, mula-mula data nak sambung pun tak sure. That's why adalah kena panjat pokok, panjat bukit dan sebagainya. My own experience, my students yang kenapa sepanjang kelas tu you dalam kereta, minta doktor, itu saja tempat dan rumah I kat porch yang ada internet. So duduk dalam kereta dia pun tak pasti dia on aircon ke tidak, kesian 1 jam dengan baby dalam kereta contohnya. So things like that. So the complexity of the situation. And in those under those circumstances, can you recall, or maybe even at the moment you are still feeling some of this, you wish you could fast forward, go away from all this. However, if you think about it, we always wish that if we are in a tight situation or not very nice situation, say, nak fast forward lah ke depan. Contoh kat awal semester, hujung semester dah sampai, okay settle, tak ada all this assignment, tak ada all this stress. Tapi lupa hujung semester macam sekarang, get ready for exam pula, sama juga, serious naik juga. So the pattern keeps repeating itself, you see, why? Because the complexity is always there, right? The problems, ujian, benda-benda yang kita kena uruskan is always there. Later on in the subsequent slides we'll see, we'll kupas lebih dalam benda-benda ni. And sometimes you can see that the complexity may be coming too fast. I can't handle it. Too fast, too much. Then we start to feel a bit stressed out. Okay? Or they could be coming too slowly. You'll be surprised. And what do you mean too slowly? The next slide, nanti kita akan kupas. Everybody has gone through this. There are times that we feel that it's a bit too slow for us, that we get a bit bored. Right? And what are these complexities? What do these complexities comprise of? My independence, relationship, financial stability, my future career, my family, my studies, etc., etc., etc. Macam-macam, right? And anak-anak kat sini, ingat, you are not the only one. Kita semua sama je. Tak kira kita umur berapa, anak-anak kecil ada anak kecil punya masalah, anak-anak besar ada anak-anak besar bermasalah, orang dewasa ada orang dewasa bermasalah. So when we say masalah, it sounds so negative kan masalah. So we just say ujian aja. Kalau duduk live ni, duduk macam tu, tak payah ada masalah, tak payah solve apa-apa, semua okay je. What is life kan? You don't believe me? Let's take a look at this graph. Cuba tengok. On the y-axis is about the complexity level of my life. So makin naik ke atas, makin complex. On the x-axis here, we are talking about your ability, your readiness to deal with this complexity. So from low end, you go to high end. So of course, ideally, we want to be in the middle, a good balance. As we go up the line, we all know this is a linear relationship or bagus, and it's a one-to-one punya gradient bagus, proportionate punya. Makin kompleks, makin I boleh uruskan. Makin kompleks, makin I boleh uruskan. Ataupun I cakap, makin tinggi kemahiran I boleh uruskan, makin tinggi kompleks. Okay lah, tu setimpal. Ada tu danger zones here. One, let's take a look at the bottom here. What if the complexity of my life is still low, very low, tak ada masalah, unjurkan ke sini. And my ability is very high, I'm already all excited to go for new challenges, new things and stuff. But there's nothing for me to do. So I feel what? I start to feel like I'm under challenge. Tak tercabar langsung, mulalah boring. On the other end, complexity of my life is getting overwhelming a lot, sangat tinggi ni. Tetapi move down x-axis, I'm not quite ready lah. So this is the part that we feel I'm stretched out. I am not so ready for it. I feel stressed. I feel anxious now. So our concern now, my dear students, is that are we here? If we are around this area, today we hope in the 1 hour plus session, we could at least try to identify what is causing this and how can we resolve this so that you could go into exam hall virtually, lebih tenang, lebih confident, kan? Dan lebih bersedia lah. Apa-apa keputusan, ingat, it's not important. Apa-apa keputusan final exam nanti adalah tidak penting. Yang penting ialah, apa orang selalu kata, usaha. Dia kata, doktor senang dia cakap, itu klise-nya, usaha itu penting. I tanya you, kita pause sekejap. Kita guna prefrontal lobe, kita proses sekejap. Exam nak sampai dah, lagi 4 hari nak exam, nak start exam. Sekarang kita berada di sini. Okay, kita berada di sini, exam nak sampai dah. What can you do apart from usaha? What can you do? What can we do? Give up. Sekarang give up means fail tau. Sebab untuk tarik diri tu minggu 7 dah habis lah. You tak boleh tarik diri, isi borang kuning dah habis lah, settle lah. So if you should drop out now, your marks are still counted. You dah buat 2 kesalahan. You tak hadir exam dah 1 kesalahan. Yang kedua, memang you gagal. Sebab apa? You punya markah exam tak ada. Dan untuk masuk exam adalah wajib untuk diambil kira apa-apa markah tu kan. Jadi, it's gone. Memang tak ada harapan lah. The moment you decide you tak nak pergi exam, dah habis. So that is not an option, right? That is suicidal. So what do we do? Okay, fine. Cuba tengok tangan you. Cuba you ulurkan tangan you. Tangan kanan you tengok depan tu. Cuba tengok baik-baik. Cuba you buka, open up your palm and look. Look carefully. From week 1 until week 14, you telah menggenggam that bara. Diletakkan seketul arang yang sangat-sangat panas, membara berapi tu dalam tangan you dan you're supposed to genggam. Perit, sakit. Menangis sepanjang jalan tu, berdarah pula tu, menitis-nitis, sakit. Tapi you dah sampai ke penghujung jalan tu dah. Dah minggu ke-14 dah. Minggu ke-15 sebenarnya. Sekali buka tangannya, memang sakit. Tetapi apa you nampak? Bara tu dah sangat kecil dah. Dan tangan you dah luka sembuh. Luka sembuh along the way. Full of scars. And the big fire there is no more there. It's a small bara. You can take it now. Belum jadi abu ya, genggam bara sampai jadi abu, belum lagi. You kena terus genggam dia sampai penghujung. Habiskan your final exam. That is what we are going to do, okay? We'll do this together. Your lecturers, your park are all there for you. The university is there for you. Ingat, we are here for you. You are not alone on this journey. You are not alone. You rasa susah nak cakap dengan orang tua-tua ni, orang dewasa tak faham, cakap dengan kawan-kawan you. I'm sure, walaupun yang year 1, sem 1 dia pelajar, tak pernah jumpa kawan dia secara face to face, pun dah buat kawan dah. So yang the group semua kan, dah ada kawan. Dan dah ada virtual BFF dah. That is fun. Think about the future. Think about in the near future, very soon, you come back to campus. For the first time, you meet your BFF. BFF ni yang hari tu virtual, sekarang dah satu kelas jumpa face to face. Gembiranya. Run around campus, hand in hand. Go and eat the famous, Panco punya mi udang Bandung. Mi udang Bandung, you know, it's very, Pago is very famous for their udang galah. Alright? So think about it. Okay? Now, the second problem. Ingat, the first problem was what? We said the complexity. The complexity yang meningkat-ningkat. The second thing is about connectivity. Alright, unprecedented. Tak pernah berlaku macam ni ya dalam era manusia, taman manusia, tak pernah. This is a time kita ada massive digital connectivity. Apa benda pun, tak kira phone lah, jam lah, laptop, apa benda pun lah, vacuum cleaner pun lah, sekarang the robot kan pun adalah connected to your phone, connected to internet, everything. So much of digital connectivity, whether you are doing a learning, whether you are taking into consideration your entertainment, your social life ni tak payah cakap lah, your Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, tak apa-apa benda lagi lah. You're dealing with your finances, simpan duit, pakai duit beli barang, Shopee, Lazada and others. You keep listening to ringtones, beeps, vibration. If you can't hear pun, you can feel. Notifications and on and on and on. Some even have different beep tones, different ringtones from different people or for different purposes. We are just so connected all the time. Dulu kata handphone tu letak jauh-jauh, tak dengar, tak nampak, okey lah. Habis itu jam connected. Kalau tak jam connected, dia connected to tab dia. Phone tak mau, tapi tab tu, the phone is connected, the tab is connected. Bila dia buat kerja pun, laptop the tab pipit. Okay, so boleh ke tahan tak nak tekan dan tengok apa benda yang incoming tu. You know, you can't help it, man. And the problem now is what? We have unintentionally developed these digital habits. Dah lama dah jadi kelakuan pula. Macam merokok, macam suka menganyam ke tempat, macam suka buat kuih, you know, become a habit. And the worst part is that we don't realize it. It is negatively affecting our brain and also our nervous system. Why? Remember our friend Amit Naklah ke belakang ni, yang dia sangat-sangat reaktif, dia overstimulated sekarang. Overstimulated. You asyik beep, asyik eat, asyik pet, asyik tinkling, asyik ting, you have a message. Macam tu. So they overstimulated. So it's addiction to this digital stimulation. Bila mula-mula, it's like, asyik amigdala asyik uja kan, ping ping pang, asyik kena tengok. Lama-lama bila dia tak ping atau 1 minit, dah risau. Tak ada benda untuk saya. Kawan dah lupa saya, tak ada notification. I dah lost. Nobody is connected to me. Ada perasan tak? Ada mula rasa pelik tak? Dah 5 minit phone I tak berbunyi. Kenapa ni? Dah rosak ke? We are in a constant state of high alert. We, meaning our amygdala, which is our brain that is supposed to do the fight or flight punya benda dengan kita, sekarang dia sentiasa alert. Sebab dia nak pastikan, stimulan kami dia nak pastikan is to fight or to flight. Dan sebenarnya in both cases pun tak fight dan tak flight pun. Kita duduk dan enjoy pleasure. Layan Insta, lepas tu up gambar terkini dekat apa nama tu FB, lepas tu layan Twitter, and then go on. WhatsApp banyak kena layan juga. Some work, some are not about work. Can you see? So how we are being overwhelmed by this connectivity thing. So sampai tahap ini, if I were to say, do you think we are in this situation now? We are in deep waters now. We are so overconnected, so many things coming in that our brain can barely have time to process. Depan tu yang prefrontal lobe tu yang kena process tu tak sempat lah. So, belum sempat nak proses, ini dapat maklumat, baru nak proses, think another one kena uruskan. Think another one, and we know the thing another one, the another leads to another one, and another one. It's almost always like this. And we lead to something good, and it comes back positive apa. Leads to something yang not so good, and then disturb the emosi. So the next thing is, dah merudum. Bila dah merudum, tak adalah nak study lagi kan. Kalau tak adalah nak study, homework yang patut sehari tak siap. Besok ada homework lain, lusa ada homework lain. So bertimbun-timbun. Bila setimbun macam ni, jangan kata you lah, I pun stress lah. Can you see? So this is where we start ask ourselves, wow, so the problems are boiling down to two only. One is that the complexity is getting so great and we have to deal with that. We got to realize that and deal with that. Number two is that we are so connected, sometimes too connected. Alright? And that's why we feel stressed out because the amygdala is on constant alert, constant punya stimulation. And we probably need to help ourselves now. Right? Okay, and let's summarize now. What is the outcome of this problem? In terms of these stimulants, work and all, you can see, work-wise, as a student, so we're talking about studies now. We feel ourselves overloaded, overwhelmed, banyaknya, okay? And the distraction, our connectivity kan, we start to have so much. Yelah, nak tengok Netflix juga. Lepas tu nak entertain, nak update FB. Lepas tu kena juga hook up dengan friends dekat Insta, Twitter, WhatsApp dan sebagainya. So much. And sometimes yang distraction ni, lebih pula daripada kerja. Kadang-kadang terus pula, tak sengaja. Alright? And now, so much stimulus coming in, we are overreacting, we are not thinking enough. So, I repeat, the amygdala, the reactive brain, is working overwork. OT lah. Okay? Yang si depan ni, tak ada pun diberi perhatian, tak sempat nak fikir, tak ada masa. I told you, the prefrontal lobe, the thinking brain, needs to be given space and time to think, to process. To think on your feet, literally, is quite impossible actually. Right? You need to give time for it to think, to process. So under this situation, manakan kita tak stress? So you think, kita patah balik. Today I say I'm very stressed out. Kita patah balik. Sebab I overreacting to all these stimulants around me. So now very scientifically I know my amygdala is overworked. My thinking brain is not much there now. Sambil belajar nak thinking pun asyik ditarik ke belakang, sebab belakang tu terpandang sana. Think kat sini phone kena check. And go back. Is it because of my work? Or is it more because of my distractions? Nampak tak? So by going through this process, setakat ni, tengah jalan of our sharing session ni, my dear students, cuba fikir sekejap. Bukankah ini yang sedang berlaku kat kita? Whatever problems or whatever ujian, whatever perkara lah kita nak cakap, sebenarnya it boils down to this. Kenapa sekarang kita rasa stress out, kita rasa anxious, rasa worry sangat dan sebagainya. Okay? So if we are clear on this, then we try to move on how we can resolve this now. Very important, very urgent kan, kena cepat resolve sebab we want to go into exam in our best form, best state, most prepared, most confident punya you untuk masuk exam sekarang. We say we have this essential complex problem solving punya toolkit. Essential. Kalau ada essential ni adalah basic. The more advanced one we will try to share after the exam. That will be for the NTM nanti. Nanti kita tengok macam mana perancangan ya. So you can see here in this set of toolkit, these 4 things here. I would like to remind you, my dear students, it is more a self-examination thing. Untuk diri you, sebab saya kata dia essential. Kita kena resolve diri kita punya konflik, diri kita punya masalah dulu. Dalam diri kita kena settle dulu. Tenang dulu. Air tu kena tenang dulu, barulah boleh nampak reflection. Air tu kocak-kocak, bayangkan laut yang berombak, you nampak apa reflection kat dalam. Bandingkan dengan tasik yang kat gunung tu, you boleh nampak refleksi of the langit dalam permukaan air tu, macam cermin. You get what I mean? So, one more time, hati dan jiwa yang tengah bergelora tu, kocak-kocak air tu, tak nampak apa-apa, tak boleh buat reflection. Tak boleh. You kena tenang. So, these are the tools that I hope my dear students that you could use them to bring some calmness to your heart. But remember, whatever tools that anybody can give you, including me, nothing will beat prayer. Doa. Regardless of your faith, it doesn't matter. Everybody believes in just one God anyway. Okay? Pray. Jangan lupa, jangan tinggal. Alright? Okay. So the first tool that is in your essential toolkit is what we would like to term as the ready state. What is the ready state? Alright? Let's see. It's the ability to think and to direct your attention. Think. Guna siapa? Depan tu, the prefrontal lobe. You're going to give it space and time so that you can direct your attention now. Okay? You should be focused, relaxed, and you're fully engaged. So you may think, when was the last time that I was fully engaged on something? Tengah, okay, nak buat assignment ni, bersungguh ni, baru nak start, ting, beli shopping, reminder kena beli, kalau tak, nanti tak dapat free course, things like. So you see, when was the last time when I do my project, tengah type, tengah cari bahan tu, betul-betul relax and fully engaged. No, I'm distracted. Netflix, so the next, apa berlaku, the next episode for Lupin, I should go and watch it, things like that. And we also experience this, okay, I avoid lah. But avoidance is temporary. What do I mean by this? Let's take an example. Most of us probably have this PKP. Asyik makan aja. Tak boleh keluar, so alasannya tak boleh exercise lah. So macam makin lama seluar ke skirt tu makin ketat je, tak boleh jadi ni. Tengok gambar pun, cermin, badan terkeluar dari cermin dah. Tak boleh ni, sangat bahaya. Okay, so sekarang I nak diet lah. Okay. Exercise perlu, I tak suka, so I nak diet. Okay. Cakap dengan mak, jangan masak untuk I tak makan lunch, I tak makan dinner, minum air je. Contohnya, okay. So kunci pintu semua, tak mau bau, mak masak kitchen pun tak nak bau. Berapa lama boleh tahan? Dalam bilik, okay, I study. Lapar, sangat bising lah itu perut, sangat bising. Nak minum air, masih lapar. Ini dah pukul 1 ni, patutlah sangat lapar lah, tak breakfast. Tak boleh tahan. Lepas dia tu, buka pintu pergi makannya. Bila makan, sebab geram, makan lagi banyak daripada biasa. 2 pinggan biasa, sekarang 4 pinggan. Is doing more harm than good. So you see, avoidance is temporary aja. So you got to face it, you can't avoid it. And if you are in a ready state, then you could actually step up because you're ready. You can take the risk, you can engage with new things because you're ready. You tell yourself, I'm ready, so I can do it. So anything comes your way, good, bad, we already say it's no such thing as good or bad, it's perception, but just tell me in the layman, so good, bad, hitam putih, kuning, jingle, you can take it. Alright? And the amazing thing is that if you are in a ready state, because you're so conscious of it, you know you can always step back and ready to come back stronger and better. Meaning what? Now I'm ready, I go and do this. I do this, I face new challenges. Okay, now there are new things that I need to do, new things I need to learn. What do I do? I come back and recoup. When I'm ready, I go out again. So every time you come in and go out, come in and go out, you become better and stronger. And you move out to the next level. Can you see that? That's why it's very important to be ready now. If you are not ready now, there's no next level. There's no next stage for us. You're always on this stage. You don't turn the book. Because we keep staying in this stage. Why? Maybe we are scared. Maybe we are not ready. We just cannot focus and cannot be engaged. We are just not ready to move on. Right? And it boils down to one word. It's the focus. And what exactly is this focus? From beginning, I did not keep hearing this word focus. Then focus simply defined is energy flows where your attention is. This is focus. So if I were to focus on something, the thing become bigger and bigger. So we just take a simple example. Problem. Assignment ni tak boleh buat ni. Lecturer kata kena dalam 3 page kena explain kan satu topik ni. 3 page. tiga slide nak cakap PowerPoint tak boleh lebih tiga slide kena punish, kena penalty, nanti kena potong markup. Macam mana tiga? Oh, tak mungkin lah. Satu chapter, satu topik tu ada 20 pages. Tulisan lah modul. Macam mana jadi 3 page lah? Oh, tak boleh. So, bila you focus on the problem, tak boleh, tak mungkin lah, tak pandai, benda tu jadi makin besar. I tak pandai, memang tak pandai. I tak tahu, makin tak tahu. You get me? So, but if you focus on the solution, right, 3 pages, what is the thing that we can do? Kalau dah 20 page penuh perkataan essay, what do? I gonna simplify. How do I simplify? Maybe a mind map. You see, maybe a mind map. Okay, then I start googling how what is a good mind map. Ada mind map sangat banyak tulisan juga. No good, not nice. How can I do it? I got 3 slides. What do? Some animation. How can I present my work, condense 20 pages punya kuliah into 3 slides, and it's so interesting because the marks are given to how interesting it is, how relevant it is, and how are the key points being presented. So you see, if you focus on solution, more and more solution will come to you. I'm sure we have all experienced this kind. So bear in mind, wherever you put your attention, that's your focus, your energy will go. So be careful of what we focus on. And I would like to draw attention here now on this little box here. When we are not ready, we are actually in the off state. Off. Macam button to switch to off. Bila dah off, what do? You become anxious, nervous, overwhelmed, frustrated. You feel down, memang feel failure, any failure. But if you are ready, you're prepared for it, you're in on situation, your switch is on, you feel empowered, you're strong, you're fearless, you're hopeful, and you're focused. Focused. So now, let's digress a little bit and talk about focus. You know this chap? No, it's not Black Panther. This is Pele, one of the greatest footballer. Some claim to be the legends, one of the legends in football history. Born in 1940, he's still around. He played for Brazil, played in the 3 World Cups. And the thing is, he has, in 92 games that he played, 92 games, he scored 77 goals. So a quick calculation will tell you that is almost 85% of. 85% of the games he's in, he will actually score a goal. Begitu sekali. All right. And of course, his most famous history is the hat trick that he scored for one of the World Cup games. All right. So what is it about Pele that I wanted to tell you? Now, Pele comes from Brazil. Kan you tengok baju jersey pun tahu that is a typical jersey the Brazil is always yellow trimmed with green. No, it's not Kedah. Okay, it's Brazil. And in Brazil, you can imagine, only recently, only in the past 10 years, that the BRICS country have come out, including Brazil, to be a very upcoming developing country, economy-wise. But in those days, in the 50s, when Pele was growing up, Brazil was still a very backward country, very backward with a lot of crime rates, economy is nowhere and all. But the people somehow like to play football. And kids love to play football. Do you think they have nice shoes to wear? Those shoes with spikes, right? No, they don't have. So kaki ayam aja. And football, ada ke football yang made of leather yang kita beli dekat Ehsan ke apa benda tu, ada tak ada? Umbro ke Nike, kita ada. So what do they do? Ambil kain buruk, isikan dengan lebih banyak kain buruk, ikatkan lebih kurang macam bulat, itulah dia punya bola. And they play on the field. Okay, mana itu goalpost? Ambil 3 batang kayu buruk, dirikan 2, baringkan 1 ke atas, itulah goalpostnya. Okay, so that's how they started playing football. And betul ke ada padang yang cantik, carpet grass, apa tak ada? Tompok sini, tompok sana, banyak batu aje lah sebenarnya. Okay, so Pele joined the national team when he was only 16. So umur 16 kita tengah buat apa lagi ya? 16, he was already in the national team. That talented, talent aside. And in order to get to the national team, everybody is playing football. How to make yourself so prominent? What makes you so stand out? What makes you so great? So he practiced. You know what he did? Dia ambil satu rim basikal, rim dia kan bulat, ikatkan tali, the rim, ikatkan kat tahan pokok, ngam-ngam ketinggian yang goal post tu, goal, ngam-ngam kat tengah macam tu, kadang-kadang dia alihkan, dia imaginekan benda tu kat tepi ke kanan sebab you shoot the goal takkan asyik kat tengah, goal kita tunggu aje lah. He took his ball and he shoot every day. Beratus kali, beribu kali, every day, shooting into the loop, into that bicycle rim, I tell you. Not the big one, yeah, a small one. Just enough to let the ball go through every day. He did that. And he was so good. So good. What did he do? He focused. When they interviewed him, what did he do? he said he focused when he was doing it. He tried to remember how his ankle, dia punya ankle was angled, how his foot was being positioned, how it felt at the top of his foot, how it felt at his toes when the ball was being shot out into the loop. And he tries to memorize how it felt, the position, the feeling, everything, all the details. How could he do that? Again and again, every day, thousands of times, after days, after weeks, after months, after years. There will be probably millions of times doing that repeatedly because he stayed focused. That's why when he was on the pitch, even though it's the World Cup, he could do it like there was nobody around because he is focused. That is Pele. I repeat, gifted, talented, still focus and practice. Then we look at the other guy. This is Mozart. Mozart, everybody knows, the famous musician in the mid 1700s until the late 1700s. He died young, as when he was 35, he died. So in those days, people died pretty young. So Mozart was a child prodigy, genius. By the time he was 6, he was already composing music. So when 6 years old, what was I doing? Mind cacing dengan tanah dan longkang aja lah. So 6 years old, he was already composing music. By then he was 8 years old. He and his gifted sister were already presenting or rather performing in the courts of the imperial family in Europe. Main untuk raja-raja tak? Boleh ya? Okay. So what is it about Mozart now? There's this one day, ada seorang pakcik datang rumah dia untuk ziarah lah sebenarnya. Okay, sebenarnya ziarah ayah dia. Borak-borak. Tiba datang tengah tengok atas piano si Mozart ni, tengok dia punya music sheet. Alright, the music sheet. Dia cakap, oh, music sheet bersih ni budak ni. Tak ada conteng-conteng, tak ada nak betulkan apa, bersih je, betul je macam tu. Dia kata, this budak is very neat. Bersih lah, kemas lah. So they pat the head of Mozart. This, you're very clever now. You know what Mozart said? Being a boy, kan, a kid lagi, he said, no, uncle, no. Actually, I've been playing this music in my head for weeks dah. Berminggu dah I main dalam otak I. I dah buat the pembetulan in my head dah. So when I ambil, I punya quill pen, bukan pen macam ni, pen yang quill pen, the bulu pelepah tu, nak tulis hujung tu kena cecah-cecah kat ink dan tulis tak hati-hati pun sangat kotor punya. Baru I tuliskan the music. So when I write it, of course it's the perfect piece. It's the one that I already played in my head for weeks. So kita pause sekejap, kita fikir. A gifted musician. Memang gifted, talented. Still focus and practice in the head. Again and again and again. And do all the corrections in the head. Bukan macam kita sekarang, tulis salah, ambil liquid paper, T-Pex. Oh, you probably don't know T-Pex and liquid paper. Sekarang tak, salah, delete, do again. In fact, we do a lot of copy-paste sekarang. Oops, that is even worse. So he's processing, focus and processing and creating the music in his head again and again and again. Until weeks later, turunkan dalam kertas tu, tak ada salah dah. How did he do it? Focus. So you see, my dear students, to be great bukan great nak jadi Winston Churchill ke apa, no. To be great in what you do, you really need to put in the effort. You really need to focus, right? Even the genius need to focus. What about us, right? Now, the second thing in your toolkit, tadi dah masuk satu, the ready state. Sekarang the second tool, put in your toolbox, is the stuff. So what is this, the stuff? The stuff, you guys say the thing, the stuff. What are the stuff? Things that show up, it can be physical, it can be digital, it can be mental, it can be emotional. The key thing about them is that they are not organized, they are not determined. Tak fix lagi, tak apa-apa macam tu. Jadi, it needs your decision and action. Benda-benda yang you kena ambil tindakan, benda yang you kena fikir, benda-benda yang you kena buat sesuatu. It could be real, or it could be something that's in your mind, and that would be what we call perception. Kita huraikan nanti lebih sikit tu. The thing with this stuff is that if you leave it on its own, because it's unresolved, it needs action, it will become a constant distraction, and it can knock you off. And this is what we don't want. Contoh apa? Homework. So, Ahad start class, first class 9 o'clock, dah ada satu homework. Petang another class, another homework, dah 2 homework on Sunday. Hantar bila? Hantar Rabu. So, okay, by right, kena buatlah Sunday dah mula buat. Come Monday, another 2 lessons, lagi 2 homework. Tapi yang semalam tu tak siap-siap lagi. So dah tambah 2, dah 4 lah. Kalau ikutkan patut Isnin, sambil tu cepat-cepat habiskan lah yang Ahad tu sebab nak buatkan Isnin lah. Tapi tidak. So bila hari Isnin tu nak tidur, ternyang-nyang kat telinga, semalam yang assignment tak siap. Ada tak perasan ni? I'm sure we all experience this kan when our work is not done. This is homework or something that we need to do. For example, duduk kat rumah, kalau kat campus bolehlah hantar baju dekat laundrette, basuh, keringkan, dah habis cerita. Ini mak dah kata hantar bawa ke dalam washing machine, at least dia basuhkan. Ni betin pun dekat bilik tak hantar, kena hantar, kena bawa turun untuk mak tolong uruskan ni, tapi tak bawa. Itu pun bugging ahead. And you see that for all these things, it could be something that is real. Like I say, it's real there, or something that's in your head, it's a perception. And whatever it is, whether it's real or whether it is something that is there, like a pen here, or the pen that I see in my head, it is a situation where, if you look at the last statement here, we can never see both sides of the same coin at the same time. Do you agree with me? I haven't got the coin here, but if I could share with you, imagine this is the object, okay? This is the front, this is the back, right? No matter how you position it, you can never see the front and the back at the same time. So if this were like a coin, I can either see, that is for me, see the front totally, and I switch and I see the back totally. If I want to see the front and back together, I can tilt it a little and I can see, okay, now I see 90% of the back and 1% of the front, and it keeps going like this. So in other words, we can never see the 100% of one side. So what do? That's why we need to flip the coin and see both sides of things. Now let's look at this little box here, these little nuggets here. As we grow older, as we grow up, you find that life gets a lot more complex than before. Betul tak? Bandingkan sekarang dah masuk universiti, bandingkan hari tu masih dekat matrikulasi, lepas tu patah balik, masuk ke SPM, lepas tu PT3, life was so much easier. Kalau patah balik jauh lagi, primary school seronoknya, run here, run there, no worries. Kindergarten lagi, not a worry in the world. Worrynya ialah, hari ni balik mak masak apa, dia gembira dia ada homework, hari ni kartun apa, very happy. Petang nak keluar main dengan kawan mana, hari ni main basikal ke, main batu ke, nak pergi pancing ikan ke, Life was a lot simpler. But then we move forward, as we grow older, and we grow up, and life gets a lot more complex. Right? So this amount of stuff will become more and more and more for us to deal with. And it could come to a situation where there's so much and we don't know how to deal with it, that we're going to off state. Remember, off state? Tak ready dah. Tak tahu how to deal, so I surrender lah, off the switch, apa-apa lah. And we lose focus and we lose our perspective. And if you don't deal with it, when it gets worse, they could overrun your life. Maksudnya, tiap-tiap pagi bila kita bangun, saya tak mau bangun dah lah. Tak mau bangun dah lah. Tarik selimut, tutup semua lah. Tak mau bangun dah. It's too much. I cannot deal with it. And that is the beginning of depression. You see, we almost always hear about this depression thing, mental health and things like that, because with this new situation, the COVID and all, so people lose their jobs and stuff like that. So life becomes very difficult and miserable. And I hope none of you, my dear students here, that you had faced that because you are still a student. And those things are probably, you have someone else to deal with that for you, with parents, your guardians, and also bersyukur lah, ada orang yang tolong uruskan. And if we don't take care of this, there will be so much that we start to feel very sad, very down. We beat ourselves up, apalah ini, tak boleh, tak pandai, tak bagus, tak cukup, segala-gala. Lama-lama banyak sangat cakap macam ni kan. Mulalah, as in the morning, tarik selimut, tak nak bangun dah. So that is the beginning of falling into the abyss, falling into the valley of depression. So be very careful. So with that, we look at this picture here. We talk about perception. Remember I told you perception? Some of these stuff is real out there, it's real. But a lot of it is our perception. This is real, it's a pen. I may see it as a pen, you may say it's a red pen. Some may say, oh, it is marking. Some may say that it is danger because it's red. So different people have the different interpretation of what an object that is real out there. is. So this story, the famous Six Blind Men and the Elephant, tells us the story originated in the subcontinent of India. Originally, it was an Indian story, right? And then it went all over the place. I think every culture has got this story as well. So take a look. If I were the blind man that is standing in front, happened to be standing in front of the elephant, I'm touching the tusk. Dia punya apa taring taring. Which kata elephant is like a spear, tajam dia macam lembing. Okay, if I were the one that is put on top of the elephant and I betul lah dapat pegang dia punya telinga, flappy, because it's a fan, it's so big, eh? And then come a bit, if I'm on the side, I got like that, I'm holding I'm on the side of the elephant and understand that the elephant is so huge, all right? How huge? So huge that the trunk, hidung dia ni, can go up to 8 feet long. What is 8 feet? Okay, I bayangkan tinggi I kontok je, I lebih kurang 150 cm, that is about 5 feet aja. So 8, bayangkan, just the trunk. So if the trunk itself, hidung tu boleh begitu panjang, bayangkan the size badan tu, okay? So this guy who is touching the body said, oh, it's a wall. And coming to the back, oh, this guy touched the echo, is a rope. Tiny rope macam tu. Kalau yang pegang kaki, big fat leg, wow, it's a big tree. And kalau apa, I said, yang sentuh the hidung tu, yang begitu panjang, dapat sentuh kat bawah dia, is a snake. Betul ke semua orang ni ke salah semua orang ni? Semua orang pun betul kan? Semua orang betul. Sebab itu persepsi dia. Dari sudut pandangan dia, pandangan quote unquote sebab dia apply. So their perception. Perception is almost like the mind's eye, what you see inside. Right? And by the way, do you know that there are mainly two types of elephants, the African elephants and the Indian elephants. So the first difference, of course, the Africans are super big and the Indian ones are smaller. And there's also one very interesting thing, the ear, the shape of the ears of the elephant. Apparently, the African elephants, because if you see a baby African elephant, you may think that, oh, it's an Indian elephant because, they are smaller, you said. But then to differentiate them, if you have two elephants of the same size, look at the ear. If you open up the ear of an African elephant, apparently, the shape of the ear of an African elephant represents the continent of Africa. So you could try that out. I'm not saying to go to an elephant, open up the ear, you may get injured doing that. You can just go online and search out pictures of elephants. Right? African elephants and also the Indian elephants, and check out on the ear. I heard of this many years ago. I checked it out, and I think there's some truth in it. It's actually the ears actually look at the shape, the continent of Africa. Okay, so this is about the perception. And remember what I told you: we'll never be able to see the two sides of a coin at the same time. You need time. Take time to turn the coin to see the both sides of it. That's where you need to really use your prefrontal lobe. Process the information and start thinking, analyzing for yourself of all the stuff that's out there. Tak mau terima bulat-bulat macam tu aja. Okay, now the third tool that I would like to give you to put in your toolbox too is what we call the Zeigarnik effect. This is very, very interesting. Okay, very, very interesting and very, very relevant. Maya, kita dengar. Zeigarnik is actually the surname of a researcher. A lady researcher called Bluma Zeigarnik in Russia in the 1920s, early 1900s. You got to imagine the situasi masa kat Europe masa tu. In the 1900s, were the time late 19th century, 1890s macam tu, sampailah early 1900s, 1920s, 30s macam tu. There's a time where the women were rising to ask for the right to vote. Mereka tengah usaha berjuang untuk hak mengundi. They call the women's suffrage, all right? And amazingly, the first place to actually allow the women to vote, got a voice, boleh vote boleh mengundi di kerajaan, adalah di Russia in the 1920s. Regardless whether it was, it lasted or not, it's not important. But the first place in Europe, when everybody around Europe, UK semua tengah sibuk pasal benda ni, yang berfikir, berjuang, yang bersuara, yang mencetak, yang first diizinkan kerajaan dia was in Russia. Okay, and Zeigarnik was one of those people who went to university. Macam tu. So one day, this lady was sitting in a restaurant, tengah nak makan, and she noticed one thing, and I think we all have experienced this before. You nampak the waiters and the waitress kan. So what do you do when you sit down? Your customer comes in. What does the waiter do? The waiter or waitress comes. Yes, morning ma'am, morning sir. What can I serve you? Look this menu. Okay, so take the order. Then bersungguh take the order. Okay, makan ni macam ni, right? And then go away, go to the kitchen, and then get our food served to you. All right? And that's it. And along with it, oh please you may call the waiter, I nak tambah gula lah, or tambah another slice of bread lah. Benda dia akan cakap benda macam tu. Dia akan ambil dengan segera uruskan. Tapi kemudian dia selesai apa you buat? You panggil dia semula, dia akan bagi receipt, you bayar. Okay? And Ziganik noticed that once you dah bayar, the waiter dah barely remember you dah. Contohnya, dah bayar, okay, dia bagi receipt, okay, bye, dia pergi, dia pun tengah check, dia baca, tersalah ni, terlebih here. You panggil dia dah macam tak berapa nak nampak you, nombor satu. Nombor dua, kalau datang pun dia kena fikir lama apa benda ni dah. Sedangkan sebelum ni, kalau I tambah order ke apa, laju je, dia tahu I siapa, dia tahu nak tambah kat mana, dia tahu apa masalahnya. Kita masih boleh tambah, tukar tak, boleh tambah cili ke apa benda, dia boleh tahu. So, kenapa macam tu, you know? So, kalau the belum bayar means the case is not closed kan, the case is not closed with this customer, dia boleh je ingat segala-gala. Bila dah bayar, case dah closed, dah lupa. So we come out this, so this is like as if our brain has got open loops. If it's not resolved, then we remember and hold on to incomplete information until it is closed. So macam the waiter tadi lah, bila dah selesai, dah terima duit you, letak dalam the cashier settle, case closed. So no more thinking about it. That's why lepas tu tanya apa, dah lupa you makan apa tadi pun tak ingat dah. Sedangkan baru berlaku. Alright. So this is very, very interesting sebenarnya. And she did further tests. Obviously, she's a scholar kan, so she did further tests on this. And she found this very, very interesting thing. And it has been verified subsequently in the more recent times by other researchers, psychologists especially. And they found that it's true. And some of these experiments are like this. And in fact, one of those that were published by Ziganik, and see the title of a paper on unfinished and unfinished tasks. Memang kena lah tempatnya. Finished and unfinished tasks. Finished, we forget. Unfinished too. So what she did was that she did this experiment, and again, I said it was validated by many scientists seterusnya, many of these, psychology and scientists seterusnya. She did this test by giving this puzzle, a puzzle to groups of people. Alright, groups of people, and the people were asked to solve lah the puzzle tu. Okay, dan satu group ni memang disuruh solve lah, dia ada satu yang solve the puzzle, tak diganggu, buat aja. Another group ni, every other 15 minutes dia akan masuk ganggu, tanya macam mana hari ni, cuaca bagus kan, sembang biasa. Kejap lagi another 15 minutes come in again, nak makan kek tak, kek ni sedap, distract dia, macam mengganggu dia punya focus. Alright. So at the end of the experiment, two groups of people were gathered again. Of course, again, the puzzles were solved, right? And she asked this group of people who were not disturbed, mereka ingat tak what ada cabaran dalam nak solve puzzle? Mereka tak ingat dah, mereka ingat hujung je. Sama macam contoh yang saya sebut awal-awal tadi kan. Bila dia tanya kumpulan ni, asyik kena ganggu ni, asyik kena ganggu. This group of people bukan saja selesaikan puzzle tu sama macam group tadi tu, mereka juga boleh sebut satu persatu the interesting thing dalam nak selesaikan puzzle tu, the cabaran-cabaran, the trial and error yang mereka dah cuba tu, mereka boleh sebutkan satu persatu dengan sangat jelas. Mereka sangat-sangat ingat. Sangat-sangat ingat. And when she continued the next set of tests, these two groups of people were given the next set of puzzles which were a bit more complex than the previous one. This group yang asyik diganggu tu can resolve it faster than the group yang tak diganggu. Meaning what? Meaning that the skills, the experience, the memory retained in your head of the steps that you used to solve the first puzzle can be used for the second one. Apa maknanya? Apa implikasinya terhadap kita sebagai student? Maksudnya, it can be used in our learning. Boleh nampak? Tak apa. We repeat lagi nanti dalam contohnya macam mana this Ziganik effect can help us. Alright? So look at this little blue box here again. So the summary of it is that open loops, unresolved punya issue will increase and things get more complex with age. So itulah kita agree to this lah kan. And the connectivity, ingat tak kita punya problem, we have unprecedented connectivity, super massive punya connectivity, always connected to the outside world. You increase the chance of them to show up, and there are many, many distractions. So more and more information coming in. Not all information can be processed and put aside. Some are not compartmentalized, they're all over the place. Being all over the place is like taking a tray of toys, campak ke atas, you nak kutip satu-satu. How many can you kutip? So many you fall all over you, some stuck in your hair, some on the floor, very few are in your palms. So macam mana? Okay. So let's take a look at this comic strip that try to summarize. It summarizes actually about closing the loop in the Zeigarnik effect. Dia kata, you always try your best to finish what you started. Why? Everything, all projects, you bayangkan balik project-project yang telah buat sepanjang semester ni, they are all made up of big and small actions. Am I right? Big and small parts you need to do. Some things are big, like cari bahan, semua tu, cari bahan yang betul, proses tu adalah big part. Proses yang kecil apa? Designkan the cover for your assignment. Contohnya, those are simple things, right? And some are big, some are small, I say. And even the small, incomplete thing can make you feel trouble. Contohnya, 5 orang satu kumpulan. Okay, dah habis lah, selesai lah projek ni hujung tu. Okay Mimi, you bekerja lah buat cover, design cover. Habis cover ni dah seminggu Mimi tak siap. You sebagai ketua, apa you fikir? Risau kan aja terfikir, projek ni kita dah nak simpulkan lah. Tengah sibuk-sibuk nak format ni. Habis Mimi punya cover tak siap lagi. So it keeps bugging you. You see? Even the small thing, the cover aja. Cover sangat penting ke isinya sangat penting? Nampak? So it says here, that's why even completing the smallest action will give you what? Unconscious commitment to finish the project. Jadi jangan underestimate, anak-anak. Jangan underestimate the small things in a bigger problem or problem in the problem solving. The small thing matters too. It's because of the small thing yang cause the trouble. It's because of the small screw that is not being tightened properly that caused the rocket to explode. It's because of the small thing that we overlook that caused our journey to a place become more painful than it should be. It's because of small thing. Contoh, nak pergi hiking. Banyak kasut, okay lah, pilih kasut baru ni yang tak pernah pakai. Baru naik 2 step, dah sakit kaki. So, apa kasut yang kita tak pernah pakai. Small thing aja. Should have just one of the shoes yang kita biasa pakai. Contohnya, simple as that. Alright? Boleh? And now, I would like to share with you 4 steps saja ni. Right? These tools, little toolkits into your toolbox for Zeigarnik effect. Macam mana kita boleh manfaatkan dengan Zeigarnik effect ni? Apa Zeigarnik effect? Zeigarnik effect simpelnya ialah kata apa? Open loops. Information yang tak settle, tak disettlekan, tak compartmentalize, kerja yang tak selesai tu akan buatkan kita terfikir-fikir, terbayang-bayang, tak tenteram. So, how do we manfaatkan daripada this kind of effect? Step 1. Take the first step. First step is take the first step. Get started and create momentum. Berapa kali kan kita macam ni dapat satu tugasan. Nak start. Fikir dah, banyak fikir dah. Cari bahan semua tu kan. Fikir lebih kurang general info dah dapat dah. Tapi nak start ni. Nak ajak dia kawan start dah. Dah kerja kumpulan. Tak start lagi. Kenapa? Macam-macam lah. Malas lah. Tak ready lagi lah. Macam-macam kita pakai alasan. So the first step tu. Confucius said a journey of 1,000 miles, berapa panjang pun, starts with the first step. First step pun tak ada cakap banyak-banyak tu, is all omong aja lah. And once you get started, you dah start the loop. Nampak tak? You start the loop. So once you start the loop, your mind will bug you tak selesai. Belum close the loop. Baru buka sikit. Mana dah tutup ni, dah kembali ke point ni. So you akan terpaksa keep going until it's finished. Otherwise, your mind wouldn't let you go. And you see? So just get started aja. Just get started and you try to create the momentum. So it bugs you. So you keep doing. Step 2, take the short breaks. Totally disassociate dengan the task. Remember Zeigarnik punya test? Apa dia kata? Yang satu group yang dia asyik ganggu, mereka sangat ingat setiap step kecil tu. Benda-benda kecil yang mereka buat, skill dia sangat ingat. Bila nak buat the next problem yang lebih tinggi, dia boleh resolve dengan lebih baik. So dia guna skill yang dia dah dapat, knowledge yang dia dapat dari awal tu, yang dia boleh ingat. Take short breaks. So contohnya study kan anak-anak, janganlah kata, pulun sekarang 3 jam study. Trust me, first 30 minutes saja fokus. The next 30 minutes hayal. The remaining 2 hours entah apa berlaku. And then sangat stress. Dah baca 3 jam. Kenapa bila nak cuba jawab soalan past semester pun tak boleh jawab? Sebab tu, kena ada breaks. Short breaks. Probably every 45 minutes, 50 minutes banyak kuliah waktu, done. 10 minutes I break. Buat benda yang totally different. Jangan pula, my break means I buat latihan. No. You are still with it. Disassociate. It says here. Buat benda yang totally lain. Skipping ke. Okay lah, tengok 10 minutes Netflix. Setiap episode Netflix is like 50 minutes kan. Okay, say 10 minutes. So, sambil buat study ni 50 minutes, I tahu hujung nanti dapat perks boleh tengok Netflix, looping. I don't know, whatever show that is in trend. Okay? And you are happy, looking forward to it. Why not? And it's totally different from whatever you're studying. Studying geotechnics, soil mechanics. Payah ni. Bearing capacity, teruk. Ting, alam, titit. Okay, 50 minutes, pause, simpan. Sekarang I buka Netflix, tengok Netflix for 10 minutes. So for every 50 minutes that I spend working on my study, I spend 10 minutes, totally different. Or you want a longer period, it's up to you. Short breaks in between. You say, my attention span is only half an hour. Every half an hour, okay, I give myself 5 minutes. I akan pergi, tengok ikan, I suka bela ikan, I tengok ikan I ke, I ada kucing, I main dengan kucing I ke, do something that's totally different. Try it. Try it from today in your revision punya schedule and see how it works for you. You could actually remember better and learn better. And it's far more relaxing than trying to sit down there for 3 hours non-stop. Okay? Number 3, how many times we were told have a to-do list? Everybody has a to-do list. Now, a to-do list is not about have a to-do list, so write down, It is about orang kata to clear your mind. Unfinished business, unfinished work, write it down. When I write it down, I remove it. I consciously tell myself it's taken out from my brain dah. Tak payah susah-susah nak ingat dah. Contoh, I can't show you because it's here kan. I have this little post-it notes. I'll write down things I need to do and I put it on the wall in front of my study desk so that I can see it regularly. So I don't have to keep in mind dah. Tak payah ingat, nanti besok lusa ada kelas, kena siapkan kuliah, 2 days lagi ada meeting, kena siapkan, dah slides tak ada. So it's written down there. I just look at it. It's like today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So it's good. It's good to write it down. Alright? And you can do this to-do list at the end of the day. Hari ni dah settle, okay, katakan pukul 7 dah berhenti. Hari ni tak ada study lagi dah. So I tuliskan apa yang tak siap. So apa yang tak siap ni ialah apa yang I nak buat besok sebenarnya. And that is a to-do list that we are talking about. And to take advantage of this Zeigarnik effect yang kita semua boleh rasa ni is creating cliffhangers. You know cliffhangers kan? Cliffhanger ialah dah panjat gunung, sampai hujan terjatuh, so pegang kat sini. Kalau tak lepaskan, jatuh mati. Macam cliffhanger. So who does a lot of cliffhangers? Betul. Cerita-cerita bersiri tu dekat Netflix ataupun dekat TV. Tak. Always end the episode dengan apa akan berlaku, dia akan tinggalkan dia punya suami ke apa. Itu cerita drama lah. Berhenti kena langgar kereta, mati ke tidak. So you teruja, tak sabar-sabar nak tengok the next episode. Do the same thing for you because our brain likes exciting things. Our brain cannot tahan. The loop is not closed. Zeigarnik effect. Dia nak close the loop, kena langgar. Nampak kereta langgar, mati ke tak? Apa berlaku ni? We are kepoci lah, kita kepoci. Kita nak tahu, what is going to happen. So write down things. Tempt yourself to carry on with the interesting subtask on unfinished business. So you kata, doctor, what assignment? How exciting can it be? How fun can it be? Macam ni lah. Dia tak fun pun, you cari lah sama dia fun. Example. Kalau ikutkan, siapa suka crack the head, fikir. Cakap pensyarah lah, cakap I lah. Bos suruh buat satu proposal lah. Dia nak buat satu program ni. Program macam mana ajar student tu belajar dengan efektif. Kena buat proposal. So proposal, have to go through the process lah. Kena cari bahan, kena baca, kena rangka dan sebagainya kan. Okay. That process is painful kan, very painful. Okay, now I nak buat, okay, hari ni dah teruk-teruk buat ni. Besok ialah kena create the slides lah, kena present kat boss lah contohnya. So I was like, dah teruk-teruk sehari, sampai besok kena buat slide pula. It's not fun kan? But I think, no, I like to make slides. Contohnya lah, I like to make slides. And I already, because I start thinking, I like to make slides. Actually, why? Because no matter how good the content is, if my slides are not interesting, the people won't bother. Bosan, penuh dengan perkataan. Buka slide tu macam buka dictionary. Macam tu siapa nak tengok kan contohnya. So, it's a challenge to me to create a slide that speaks very little, a lot of pictures, very interesting, maybe a bit of animation, don't overdo, and people like to see it. People are, if the contents are not yet very interesting, because it's serious stuff, at least the presentation make them want to see it, correct color and all. So that is nice, that is exciting. So that is what I meant by interesting thing, something I like to do, something that will make me want to do it tomorrow. I've forgotten I've overlooked the difficulty of it or the challenge or the boredom of it. I only see the part that I like to do it. I want to put it out into a nice thing. I want to impress myself, not people, impress myself, to let myself know that I can do this. Right? I can translate this big bulk of information into something that is simple, few slides saja orang boleh faham. Can you see? So these 4 steps, please take note of it. Yeah. So you see, Zeigarnik effect. Asalnya is about a mental condition where we don't like unclosed loop, we don't like unfinished business. And further examine, you can see that we can take advantage of it and make into 4 simple steps that can help us to get moving. Boleh? Right. Now we come to the last tool. I promise you only 4 kan. The 4th tool that I would like you to keep in the toolkit is control and perspective. Because these 2 things put together, we are closing the loop now. Remember, the first thing I told you, first tool is to be ready, in a ready state. And this is closing the loop on how to be in ready state all the time. Control and perspective. So the first component here in the equation is control. What is control? Control is about stability. If I say I'm in control of my life, I'm stable. My life is so out of control, meaning that it's all over the place. I can't control the. Apa maksud I can't control my life? My feelings I can't control. My thoughts I can't control. Basically, I give up. Alright? And it's a control that comes from within, from inside. And you can also call it operational control. Senang cakap, macam you play video games. Many of you play video games kan? Betul kan? Really, my video game, especially I don't play, but I try to think of anak-anak yang lain. Those games yang, okay, it's not a good example, but that is the one that it's Minecraft, I think it's called. Is it called Minecraft? Yeah, little people who look like the block people, like Lego thing. And they are supposed to hack away. Yeah, they are like miners. They have this hacksaw to this little hammer thing to hack away at the mountains and pick out the minerals, and also they can build something, or they can go to a place where they cultivate the farm, and also it depends. I think that's the Minecraft. Now the question is, if you happen to be put in the problem where you are this hero, you go in and you come to a situation where you are in a mountainous area, okay? Can you change the mountain? You can't, right? You are in the game. You are being assigned to this mountain. So your job now is a miner. So you start behaving like a miner, hacking away and looking around where to put your little hut, where to put the quarry, where to simpan you punya mineral yang dah dikeluarkan tu. Macam tu. You tak boleh change benda kat dalam tu. So you akan control diri you untuk managekan diri you ke mana. Mana satu buat dulu dan sebagainya. Can you see? So it's about how you engage and handle the situation. Sama je, your preparation and your attitude. Real life is the same. That you're playing the video game. You can't change what is in your video game, the setting you can't change. You just got to suit yourself to it. Handle the situation. Simple, another Mario, everybody knows, becoming trendy again, because we launched a new version, all right, Nintendo. Mario, is like jumping, eat mushroom, kan? No, so jumping over mushroom and take all the power, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you got to dive into the dungeon and swim and all. So can you first level, jumping over the place. Second level is to swim, diving into the sea. I have to avoid this sea monster. Now, can you change? Can you tell the sea monster to go away? Can you tell them to drain the water? I just want to walk and jump. I don't want to swim. No, you can't. You are in that stage playing in underwater situation. You have to adapt yourself to the situation and start doing what you need to do underwater. That is what we mean. The second component in the equation is perspective. Perspective. We hear this word often enough, kan? Kids, ability to look ahead of where you are going and why you are going there. Can you see? So one, I'm in control. Okay, I'm going to handle the situation. I'm aware of what's going on around here. Next, I have perspective. If I'm aware, I'm going to handle it. What I'm going to do, I can see the way towards the end. Right? Two together, you get what we call the ready state. And look at this little blue box again. We say the equation, I repeat, control and perspective give you readiness. So you can always get back to the ready state. Once you take charge of the control and the perspective, you are always ready, right? And the cycle between the on-off too is natural and non-threatening. Remember, we talk about ready state, you can be on, you can be off sometimes. When you say on-off, it could be situation where you step out of your comfort zone and start to do something that you're not quite sure. And kalau dah keluar comfort zone, kena peluru, kena kalau main game, terkandas, then you go back again. So you go back again. So until you move out of the level. So it's the same thing. Life is the same thing, right? Because you can always come back and make yourself more ready to go out again stronger and better. Okay. And here we shall see, I would like to give you 4. Again, the magic number today is 4. Little steps, little tools to add on to this particular toolkit of yours. To get there, to get the things done, right? Like preparing for exam and give your best. We must always see the big and the small pictures. We always say planning, and say cliche. Fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. Things like that. But we barely spend time to think, what is a good plan? What is a good plan? Everybody plan. Plan is what? Planning consists of 2 things saja. Task and time. Betul tak? So a lot of times we have task. Our plan is task saja. Ni kena buat. Time tak ada. Bila nak buat tak ada. So end up, bila nak. So in the end, the list is just a list. It's a task list because there's no time. So it's not a plan. So a plan, a good plan, not say a good plan, I will say a plan that is useful to us, is a plan that has outcomes and process goals. You have to set goals, kan? This is my timeline. Katakan untuk seminggu ni, I nak get ready exam 7 hari. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So every day, I set a process goal. So hujung ni ialah the outcome goal. Outcome ialah face the exam confidently. 40 markah exam, I nak score at least 30. Contohnya. Okay, so kalau 30, kalau 4 soalan, 3 soalan kena 100% correct ni, setidak-tidak contohnya lah. So that is the ultimate outcome. So when we plan, say today I'm here, okay, I'm going to plan, do this, study, okay, I akan pergi ni. What we forget are the process goals. Process goals means first day study, second day. Second day, maybe I should put a flag up, put my little milestone, my process goal. By second day, I dah selesai bab 1. Contohnya, then I can check, betul lah dah kuat. So bila I study, I tengok back plan dah, second day kena selesaikan bab 1 ni, kena khatam bab 1. So when I study, I'm very focused and very directed punya. Tak adalah sambil study bab 1 risau, bab 3 belum study. No, because I know, bab 3 hari ketiga baru nak study. Can you see? So that is why you must always see the big and the small pictures in your work plan. So plan is not good enough. Plan must be put in with, along with time. Task and time, remember, the task, the activity, and your timeline, these two give you a plan. And you must add in one more thing, your little goals, the process goes along the way. Baru you tahu you tak capai apa along the way. It's the little things you capai, pick up, hujung tu sampai hujung, cukuplah you punya bahan, cukuplah you punya bekal untuk ke depan. Alright? Number 2, be the realist and the dreamer at the same time. Realist means what? I know my limitations. Okay? Contoh, kita ambil contoh yang sangat-sangat mudah. Macam dah put on weight. Kena pergi lari lah. The last time I lari was masa kat sekolah SPM. Sebab ada uji padang tu kan, wajib lari 7 round ke apa. So tiba lari, mati ke. Apa, coba EPKP tak boleh pergi padang ke apa. Okay, I run kat taman perumahan I je lah. Wah, nak run tu agak seksa lah. Okay lah. 1 round je lah first day. Okay, pergi. I rasa I boleh. Yang I boleh buat 1 je, 1. So I pun run. First day separuh pun tak berhenti. Separuh run, separuh jalan. Okay, tak apa. Dekat second day buat lagi. Second day, boleh lari 3 suku lah. 1 suku aja kena jalan. By the third day, can run finish the whole thing lah. Rumah, I round, patah balik ke rumah, boleh sampai dah. Sangat mengal lah. Kaki pun sangat sakit lah. Pagi nak turun kaki pun agak seksa lah. Tapi boleh buat. So, can do lah. So, I start to stretch my goals. Can you see? Initially, manageable is 1 round here. Now, I stretch it. Maybe I can try 1.5. Maybe I run the first round, the second half too, I walk. So it's stretching my goal. Can you see? And you start doing that. Before you even realize it, by the end of the week, you can run 2 rounds slowly, alright, without a lot of pain. If you carry on to the second week, you can see 2 rounds so is nothing, with no pain. And you carry on, after 1 month, you can run 5 rounds without any more pain. Panting memang pain. Kalau tak panting tu, itu bukan manusia. It's a very aerobic exercise. Of course, you will start to have panting. Right? So that is being a realist. You know your limits and you push it to stretch. When I say stretch goals means you jangkau, you usaha jangkau, you boleh sampai punya. Tak nak depan-depan je, you nak jangkau. Kena ada usaha sikit ni. And become a dreamer as well. Turn fear into fire. And I borrow Nike punya tagline, just do it. How often lah. Nak pergi lari lah. So that I can go sikit, fit sikit. So nanti bila naik campus tak ada lah. Kawan terkejut dah jadi balloon pula. Macam tu kan. Tak boleh lah, sakit lah nanti, cungak ni, sangat seksa ni. Nanti lari, jiran semua nampak, I ketawakan, sekarang dah lah, tak seslim hari tu, baju pun ketat sebenarnya. So a lot of fear, a lot of worries, dah. Just snap out of it and just do it aja lah. Just do it. Ingat kita cakap tak awal tadi, once you start doing it, Zeigarnik effect, you cannot stop because the loop is not closed. Why do you stop? Why do you stop sebenarnya? It's like, you say unclosed loop, kenapa dia close? That goes on to because of the passion. The motivation behind it. You have to let your passion fire your motivation. I like to say this here. There's no such thing as motivation. I sideline here. There's no such thing as a motivational talk, motivational camp. There's no such thing. Itu pandangan I lah. Itu pandangan saya. Why? Because no one can motivate you. No one. There's no such thing. Apa tu motivate? Kalau you Google or you check Oxford Dictionary ke apa, motivate is to feel driven, to feel wanting to do something. Who can make you do something? Who can make you want to do something? Mak, ayah, pensyarah, Dr. Chan? No. Siapa? You. Can a lecturer make you want to study? No. Can your parents make you want to do assignment? No. You have to want to do it. And you are the one who is going to motivate yourself to do it. But I don't think there's such a thing as motivator or motivation talk. I don't think there's such a thing. There can be an inspirational talk, someone talking to you about something, sharing the person's experience or how the person come out from difficulty. And you feel inspired to tiru. Yes, that person doesn't motivate you. by getting the inspiration in yourself and reprocessing the information and scheduling for yourself in a plan that is workable, activities, timeline, and the little flags to show the achievement, then you can make it happen for yourself. And with this in place, you motivate yourself to keep going. And why do you keep yourself motivated? Macam boleh terbakar sini nak ke depan? Because you are passionate about it. What is passion? It is important for you. Important enough for you. Sometimes it may be painful. A lot of times things that are good for us are painful to get, painful to go through. Do you agree with me? I nak tengok sekarang young boys when it comes to certain age, memang suka pergi gym punya kan. I pun nak six pack. I pun nak ada banyak muscle. Oh, nak macam tu, kena jaga makan, kena workout sangat teruk ni. No ordinary run. No ordinary plank. Ini memang kena pergi gym, kena pergi buat teruk. Vigorous punya weight training. Contohnya lah kan. So that is hard work. That is hard work. Betul tak? So do something. Make your own goals. Nobody can make it for you. You make your own goals. Make your own plan. Do things that excite you and make you happy. So this is a part that you're going to cure ni. Doctor, senang you cakap benda yang excite me, make me feel fun and happy. Study. How fun can it be? Wow. Then we have to start asking ourselves. Ingat tak tadi contoh cakap dengan you, boss baik kerja? Yes, to come up with the whole idea tu is not easy. A lot of work go into it. But finally, to present it, the slides. I like making slides. I tell myself I like making slides. Maybe I don't really like to make slides, but that is a fun bit. Compared to the days of coming up with the information, the rangka and all, now to translate into a presentable way, and next thing is done. Isn't this more exciting and more fun than the before job? See? So I make happiness for myself. I create the happiness for myself. I turn a task into a fun thing so that I can feel motivated to want to do it. I ask you, memang kena hantar kata projek tu. Hujung semester memang kena hantar. You ada dua option je. Do it or don't do it. Do it separah hati pun consider don't do it. Copy paste hantar pun consider don't do it sebenarnya. So bagi lecturer pandang dua benda je. You either do it or you don't do it. Dia tak ada in between dia. I copy paste, hantar kita settle. It's not about hantar ke tak hantar. It's about doing it ke tak doing it sebenarnya. It's about you learn or you don't learn, itu aja. Sebab itu saya sangat sedih kalau student saya copy paste. Sangat-sangat sedih. Maksudnya I fail to teach them to think and to learn. So I fail. They never learn. What they learn is very pandai copy paste. So pandai copy paste sampai typo pun ada kat situ lagi. Copy paste sampai tulisan melekat-lekat pun tak perasan. So copy paste. Dia nak jujur kepada hasil kerja asal tu. Orang tersalah typo ke salah fakta pun they don't care. Macam itulah. So it's very sad. So dear students, don't. Jangan get into the habit of copy pasting. You learn nothing. The most you learn is how quickly you click your mouse, to copy paste people's work. Dua kesalahan kat situ. Satu, curi orang lain punya ilmu. Nombor dua, tak belajar. So dua-dua pun kesalahan yang sangat-sangat tidak bagus untuk seorang pelajar. But that's it. Fine. The passion, keep the fire up, keep the fire burning so that you'll be motivated yourself, inside you, within you, to keep moving forward. And last but not least, many a times we feel sad and down because of this. We are not prepared for the roadblocks and detours. Pasti ada punya kan, terjatuh tu, tersungkur tu. Cuba you tengok diri you sekarang. Cuba you tengok. Look at your elbows. Look at your own elbows. Look. Then you look at your own knees. Your lutut. Tengok. Anyone can tell me now, no scar? Tak pernah ada scar. Tak pernah jatuh, lutut bersih, siku bersih. Ada? Anyone? I doubt good. I have plenty. If you can see, I have plenty. I also said I got plenty. So many. And some are pretty recent. Oh, I'm a very clumsy person. I fall over very easily. That's a bad thing, actually. And I have plenty. So many. And some are pretty deep that, honestly, I can recall how I got it. I can remember how painful it was. I can remember how long it took to heal because it was too deep a cut, for example. So look at yourself. Look at your elbows and look at your knees. We all have scars. We all have fallen before. We all have cried before. We all have bled before. But we are still here. We are still here. You ingat masa you baby, mak lahirkan you, carry you 9 months. Gadaikan nyawa you tau. Untuk kandungkan you, bawa you 9 months later, deliver you. Whether it's a normal delivery, whether it's a breech, whether it's a Caesar, it doesn't matter. Dia menggadai nyawa you untuk kandung you 9 bulan, susahkan hidup dia 9 bulan, morning sickness yang teruk-teruk tak ada cakap. Mungkin ada sakit belakang kena diabetes sebab you. Lahirkan you pun penuh dengan cabaran, life and death situasi. Akhirnya keluar you, baby. First thing apa you buat? Raung-raung, nangis-nangis. Letak you kat lantai, you boleh ke merangkak? Tak ada kan? Terkiata ke kapal-kapal mata pun belum sure dah buka lagi. Terkapal-kapal. And next thing, dengan mak jaga elok-elok, mulalah merangkak. Ada ke tiba-tiba dah berlari? Tak ada kan? Merangkak. Tak adalah. Mak ayah tunjukkan gambar ke video you masa kecil, merangkak-rangkak. Rambut pun tak berapa ada batang lagi. And you start to walk. Do you suddenly walk quickly? No. Memapa-mapa, jatuh, nangis-nangis, raung-raung. Mulalah start to have scars on the elbows, on the knees. And then can start to walk very cleverly dah. Tak payah memapa, jalan dengan sangat laju dah. Tapi sebab baby kan, tak apa-apa stabil punya. Head is proportionally bigger than the body. So tak ada pak, sini tak ada, banyak scars, ada scars dan sebagainya. And more scars on the elbows and on the knees. Then start to run. Sangat pandai lari dan jalan tak puas hati, run. Run tak apa, tangan dah pandai jangkau sini, jangkau sana dah. Okay. And we fall along the way. So try to recall from baby, balikkan badan pun tak boleh. Awak-awak, mak kena tolong balikkan sini, kiri, kejap kanan. Jangan asyik terlentang nanti orang tua kata ni apa, sebab the skull is still very soft, nanti terkemik pula belakang. Nanti besok hari tengok you, lepeh-lepeh kepala kat belakang tu. Tak lawa pula. So kena dibalik-balikkan. Kena bendung lagi macam tu. Macam mami. Sebab kata kalau tak terkejut tak boleh tidur kan. I tell you a secret. I dah besar macam ni, I pun tak boleh tidur, tak ada pegang a pillow or something on my chair. I pun terkejut-kejut juga. Lepas tu I got a bad habit, I tidur tertiarap sangat sebab aku terkejut and it's a bad thing lah. So that is tak ada kaitan. Yep. So maybe some of you have the same thing, or teddy bear, or bantal busuk. Ya, ini dari umur 5, sekarang ada umur 20 masih ada lagi. Masih ada lagi. Tak dibagi buang. Things like penuh dengan bekas idea dan sebagainya. Or something else, I don't know, but that important. The important thing is that, remember, my dear students, the journey you have been through before. There are so many falls, some big falls, some small falls, and we have scars to prove that. There are so many scars to prove that. You don't believe me, just look at yourself. Tak payah tengok orang, tengok diri. So many. But you come through it. You're here. You're already a mahasiswa, mahasiswi. And you see, so these unpredictable and unexpected events are no surprises. You really know from when you were a baby until now, you really know they're going to happen. Simple as learning to walk. It will happen. One more, when we grow older, what do we say? Things, more stuff, more complexity. Of course, the events that come to you are becoming more complex, bigger, seem bigger, more difficult, seem more difficult. So all you need to do is to keep your eyes on the goal. So in your situation now, what is it that is the goal? What is the light at the end of the tunnel? What is the trophy that you're going towards? Let's talk about a long-term thing. You want to graduate with a good degree. What is a good degree? A first class degree. Aim for the first class degree, but I rasa a second class apa? No. What did they say? If you can shoot, all right? Imagine you're a superhero. You are one of the old Greek gods. You could shoot your arrow, your magical arrow, at the moon. Why are you aiming at the stars? Tamak so tengok ada banyak star. Aim at the moon. Why? There's only one moon, and it's super big, super bright. That's the prize you want. Aim at the moon. If I miss, I will hit one of the stars. The stars are super tiny, even though there are plenty. You aim at one, dia klik, ada kejap, tak ada macam tu. If you miss, your arrow goes into infinity. You get nothing. You get nothing. So always aim for the biggest prize. So in your case, what's the biggest prize? At the end of it, I want to graduate with my mortarboard in my jubah university dengan the sash indicating is FTK. You are going up on stage receiving your scroll from the Sultan or from any other dignitaries of the university as the first class student. You have a special sash that cut across, macam pageant, beauty pageant, Miss World ke Miss Universe, yang tulis itu yang first class. You want to aim for that. You want to look at that. So these little obstacles, banyak kerja, kena online lah, teruk lah banyak. Are they important? Of course they are important. You got to resolve them. But are they going to keep you from keep going to reach that goal? No. Keep your eyes on that goal. Terjatuh, tersungkur, angkat kepala tu, nampak goal tu. Apa goal tu? I nak first class student. I nak the first class degree. Kenapa? Kenapa nak jadi first class student? Wah, itu tanggungjawab I. Of course kenapa tanggungjawab? I tak nak hampakan mak I. Kenapa tak nak hampakan mak I? Ada contoh yang baik nak adik. Kenapa kena jadi contoh yang baik nak adik-adik? Itu tanggungjawab I. Tadi dah cakap tanggungjawab. Kenapa tanggungjawab you lagi? Sebab apa? Sebab sebagai seorang yang bertanggungjawab, tanggungjawab yang diberikan tu perlu dilaksanakan dengan sepenuh hati, sepenuh jiwa, sebaik mungkin. Sehinggalah nafas yang terakhir. Itu orang yang bertanggungjawab. Kan? You are mahasiswa, mahasiswi. I cannot repeat enough. Of course you understand this. Of course you can do this. Right? So remember, obstacles, roadblocks, rituals itu standard. Itu pasti ada. Kalau tak ada smooth saja, kan, itu pelik tu. Strange tu. And every time nak teringat susahnya, tersungkur, sakit, dah try ni tak boleh kan. Look at your own elbow. Tak payah tengok orang lain. Dia bersih lah orang punya kain kan, tak payah. Tengok sendiri punya elbow. Tengok sendiri punya lutut tu. Ingat balik. Did it kill you? It didn't kill you kan. You are still here. Right? And with that, I summarize for you. Those are the 4 tools that I have given to you today. I hope you got them right in the essential complex problem solving toolkit. As you can see, many of these are actually tools to recognize ourselves, to know ourselves. We can't start resolving anything if we don't start understanding what is going on here and here. Ada rasa kalau sini sangat kusut dan sini pun rasa sangat kekosongan dan sangat risau lah. Kalau these two kena settle dulu, barulah boleh deal dengan apa-apa yang kat luar tu. Alright. Coming to the end of our session ni, I started with Einstein, I shall end with Einstein. He says what? You cannot solve the problem with the same thinking you used when you created them. So you fikir sekejap. Betul lah. Why we need the toolkit? Why did I give you the toolkit? Because apparently the previous toolkit doesn't quite work. Sebab tu dalam keadaan sekarang yang agak stress, agak anxious, agak worry, agak tak confident, agak sukar lah semuanya. Nampak tak? So kan. That's why we need to start having a new set of thinking, a new set of tools. Nampak tak? Boleh tak? And the human mind is like an iceberg, right? What we know about an iceberg, we know what we see at the top on the surface of the water is very little. How little? As little as 10% of what is underneath. Alright? Usually it's like that. You don't believe me? Now ada banyak masa kan PKP ni, buatlah satu ketuk ais besar dan cuba lepas tu dah siap rendam dalam satu balang duduk sini dan cuba tengoklah. Then you can start your physics going on about density of materials. So your revealed potential is like the iceberg. It's just 10% ke atas ni. And are you happy? Are you happy with just 10% of it being unleashed? Or you are anxious, you are eager, you are excited, you are worried if you do not unleash and take out the remaining 90% that is hidden where? Bukan kat rumah dia, bukan dalam gerobok dia. Inside you. Yang you biarkan dia terpendam sebab you tak confidence, sebab you risau, sebab you kata diri you tak pandai, sebab you kata diri you tak mampu, sebab you kata diri you tak tahu. So masih kat situ aja. Kasih itu aja. Sampai bila kita nak macam tu? About this kan, about to let our potential come out. I hope I got an opportunity to share with you in the next session probably about this matter, and hopefully it will be helpful. It's not for today lah. Kita kena tackle benda yang kat depan kita dulu, exam dulu. And with that, as the end of my sharing session with you, I mean, yeah, maju jaya for exam and your life sebenarnya. So I hope you are, as I say, I'm going to exit here. I hope you are still with me, and I really hope that you have some questions for me, and bukan dah bye-bye kat I. Okay, thank you. Yeah, any questions? Or am I talking to chairs? Please say something. Please on your video so that I know I'm not talking to the chair or the curtain. Right. Sorry, I got somehow removed. Moved now, yeah. Thrown out of the group. Yep. All right, guys, can you hear me? So, yeah, is there anything that I can address for you or something we would like to discuss? Anything at all? I would appreciate it if good. Yeah, turn on your video. So kita nampak muka sikit kan. Orang kata bila ada nampak muka, meskipun kita secara maya pun lebih banyak engagement daripada tak nampak apa-apa kan. Yang tadi dia cakap dengan you, I can imagine nampak you sebenarnya. Sebab I nampak di screen, saya tak nampak apa-apa lain. It's kind of a bit difficult to imagine. See, pensyarah pun ada ujian dia, okay? Cakap dengan kamera is not so easy lah. So hebatlah those penceramah, pembaca berita dekat apa nama tu, dekat TV ya. See, ada pak-pak yang curi-curi masuk, Dr. Kamrai ni. Thank you for the support. Alright, come on guys. Is there anything? Anything? If you are shy to bercakap, you type lah kat situ. But I hope you can speak up. Cakap je lah. Tak kerap kita boleh cakap kat sini kan. Anything? Seriously tak hampir nak ingat earphone ni rosak. Tak dengar apa-apa. Cakaplah sesuatu.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi.
Can you to say anything? Is it that
Hello,
boring?
Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi. Boleh saya cakap sesuatu tak?
Waalaikumsalam. Boleh.
Saya rasa terima kasih kepada Dr. Chan yang dah share sedikit, banyak lah sebenarnya banyak juga lah tu experience berkaitan dengan student juga. Masa untuk saya pun terkena juga bila Dr. Chan ada cerita macam tu, so kita ada share experience tu. Tapi mungkin Dr. Prof sekarang dia dapat Prof, tahniah Prof Chan Chimeng. Mungkin boleh share dengan students apa tips yang boleh pada mereka untuk buat, sebab mereka ni baru first time kan, betul, nak final exam di UTHM for the first time, tak tahu situasi macam mana, lepas tu nak menghadap exam tu secara online kan. Dulu kalau face to face kita tak ada masalah, you masuk dewan exam, kita bagi kertas periksa, you jawab, then settle. Tapi bila nak final exam online ni, ada tak tips yang boleh share lah dengan pelajar ni, at least dia orang boleh ada semangat sikit lah untuk jawab final ke dan sebagainya kan. Okay, thank you.
Prof muted.
Ulang. Sorry. Minta maaf. Okay, I nak cakap ni. I dengan Dr. Kamrai ni sebenarnya goes back a very long way. We were classmates in Polytechnic Polison for 3 years. And then we were classmates in university for 2.5 years. And then we were colleagues in the university. Daripada Kuito jadi UTHM until now. So kawan yang sangat-sangat lama. Right. So thank you Annie for being here and thank you for the question. Memang sangat-sangat tepat. Di student tanya tak nak tanya. So macam mana hadapi this exam yang tengah online ni kan. Nombor satu, kalau you ada masalah internet, you baik cakap dengan pensyarah awal-awal. Cakap. Nombor satu, pastikan. You rasa your internet connection tu you tak berapa yakin, cakap awal-awal. So your pensyarah akan standby untuk hantarkan soalan kepada you dengan cara-cara lain yang lebih akan kesampaian. Faham tak? Nombor satu, kalau ada masalah internet, tolong bagi tahu. Nombor dua, when you are having an online exam, it's just the same like having a face-to-face exam. Bezanya ada dua je. Satu, you tak dapat pegang itu kertas, you tak dapat pegang dan cium dia punya bau dan rasa tekstur soalan dengan tekstur kertas soalan dengan tekstur skrip jawapan. Dengan dua, you tak ada orang lalu lalang tepi meja kerusi you tu tengok you ronda-ronda. Itu dua je tak ada. Yang lain-lain semua sama je. Sebab yang lain-lain tu ialah diri you.